There's a 5-gallon bucket in the trunk of your Honda Civic, and it's full of quarters, $400 of them. You're carrying it into a bank in Denver at 8 a.m., and your arms are shaking. 5 years later, you're in a title office off Santa Fe Drive, signing for the building itself, the brick building on South Federal Boulevard where that bucket came from. 6 laundromats now, from Denver down to Pueblo. And every bit of it traces back to a handwritten sign, taped crooked in a window, that 4,000 people drove past that morning without slowing down. This is the story of why you stopped. Denver, Colorado, you're 31. You write service tickets at a Toyota dealership out on Havana Street. Brake jobs, timing chains, other people's warranties. Decent job, going nowhere in particular. You drive a 2012 Honda Civic with 151,000 miles and hail dents on the hood. Because it's Colorado, and everything eventually has hail dents. Rent on your 1-bedroom in Westwood just went up $90. Again. The washers in your building have been broken since March, so every Sunday you haul your laundry 3 blocks to Kessler's Coin-Op Wash on South Federal. Fluorescent lights, a wall of Harvest Gold dryers, and an old man at a folding table doing the crossword. That's Walter Kessler. He's owned the place 41 years. His wife Dot ran the wash and fold counter until she passed 2 winters ago. Since then, Walter opens late, closes early, and fixes nothing. You know all this because you're there every Sunday, and Walter talks. About Dot, about 1983, about the kid who sold him the building's lease back when Federal was all body shops. You listen, mostly because nobody else does. Then one Sunday in April, there's a sign in the window, notebook paper, black marker, for sale by owner. Ask Walter. No price, no phone number, just an old man betting somebody would ask. You almost don't. You have $23,400 in savings, 6 years of it, and exactly 0 experience running anything. But you think about the $90 rent increase and the ticket queue waiting Monday morning, and you hear yourself say, "Walter, how much?" $140,000, he says, for the machines, the name, and the lease. He says it does about $9,000 a month. He says it like a man reciting what the business did 10 years ago, because that's exactly what he's doing. Here's the problem with buying a laundromat. It's a cash business. The seller can tell you any number he wants. There's no landlord of truth, no audited statement. Just a shoebox of deposit slips and an honest face. But a laundromat has one witness that never lies: the water bill. Every dollar of wash revenue has gallons attached to it. So you ask Walter for 12 months of Denver water bills, and because he's Walter, he hands you the whole drawer. You spend 2 weeks of nights at your kitchen table with a calculator and a legal pad. Each top-load washer drinks about 30 gallons a cycle. The front loaders, closer to 20. Divide the gallons, count the cycles, multiply by the price of a wash. The water says Kessler's isn't doing $9,000 a month. It's doing about $6,200 and sliding. 9 of the 32 washers are dead. The place closes at 7, in a neighborhood where half the customers clean offices until 6. Most buyers would see a lie and walk. You see something else. An owner who isn't lying, just remembering, and a gap between what the store does and what it would do if a single person cared that you could drive a truck through. Because here's the other number you pulled from census data on your lunch breaks. Within 1 mile of that corner, 70% of housing is renter-occupied. Thousands of apartments, most without washers. The customers aren't gone, they're just going somewhere better lit. You go back to Walter with your legal pad, and you don't insult him. You walk him through the water bills, his own water bills, page by page. He gets quiet. Then he says the truest thing anyone says in this whole story. Dot did the numbers. Your offer? $70,000. $20,000 down, almost everything you have, and Walter carries the other $50,000 as a loan. You pay him $967 a month, 6% interest for 5 years. It's called seller financing, and it's how businesses like this actually change hands. Understand what Walter's really doing. He's the bank now. If you fail, he takes the store back and keeps your 20 grand. He's not gambling on your resume. He's gambling that the kid who read his water bills won't quit. One more clause, and write this one down. Walter owns the building. You sign a 5-year lease at $2,800 a month with a right of first refusal. If Walter ever sells the building, he has to offer it to you first. It costs you nothing to ask for. Remember it. On June 1st, Walter hands you a ring of brass keys and shakes your hand with both of his. You are now the owner of a failing laundromat on South Federal Boulevard. Your savings account holds $3,400. Your Civic is your delivery van. There is no plan B. Rule 1 of a laundromat. The machines only make money when they're spinning. The industry measures it in turns per day, how many times each washer runs. Healthy stores turn 4 or 5. Kessler's is turning barely 2. That number is now your whole life. Fix 1. The hours. You start opening at 6 a.m. and closing at 11, 7 days a week, which you can do because for the first year, the staff is you before your shift at the dealership, and after it, revenue is asleep the same hours you are. So you stop sleeping much. Fix 2. The 9 dead washers. A new Speed Queen costs $4 grand you don't have. So you find Manny Ortega, a used equipment dealer off Morrison Road, who sells you refurbished machines at $900 apiece and teaches you, patiently, in his warehouse, how to replace a drain valve yourself. Fix 3. Light. You spend $600 relamping the whole store and another $200 on paint. It sounds cosmetic. It isn't. A laundromat sells safety to people doing chores at 10 at night. Bright and clean is the product. Now's Restruct is one $600 who lemmed and Aiden Sovlik product. Fix 4. You bring back Luz. Luz Herrera ran the wash and fold counter for Dot for 11 years, then watched Walter let it die. You hire her back 3 days a week and reopen the service at $1.75 a pound. Here's why that matters. A self-serve wash nets you maybe 30% margin after water, gas, and rent. Wash and fold, same machines, same water, runs closer to 60 because you're not selling a machine anymore. You're selling somebody their Sunday back. Then Luz does something you'd never have thought of. She starts collecting phone numbers, a paper list at the counter, and texts customers when their orders are ready. It costs nothing. Within a month, Wash and Fold has regulars with names. Hold on to that list. It saves your life later. Fix 5. The quarters. You put in a hybrid card system. Machines take coins or a loyalty card. Financed at 11% because that's the rate first-timers get. Card customers load $20 at a time and spend it faster. Industry-wide, that alone lifts revenue double digits. And Fix 6, the unglamorous king. Commercial accounts. You cold walk every barbershop, gym, taqueria, and Airbnb cleaner within 2 miles. Towels, aprons, linens, weekly pickup. In the Civic, backseat folded down, hail, dents, and all. By October, you have 9 accounts. 8 months in, the numbers. $6,200 a month when you bought it. $11,300 now. Turns per day, 2.1. Up to 3.8. After rent, utilities, Luz, and Walter's $967, the store clears about $3,900 a month. Profit. Real, weekly, count it in a bucket, profit. That's the bucket, by the way. $400 of quarters in the Civic's trunk every Friday morning into the coin counter at the bank branch on Alameda. The teller, Dana, starts calling you the quarter guy. Remember Dana too. Then comes the second week of January. If you've lived in Denver, you know the one. The Arctic front that drops the city to 12 below zero and holds it there for 4 days. The news calls it a cold snap. Plumbers call it Christmas. At 4:40 on a Tuesday morning, your phone rings. It's the alarm company. Water motion in the store. You drive Federal Boulevard in the dark at 12 below, and you can see it from the parking lot. The front windows, fogged from the inside. A pipe in the ceiling above the folding tables, original to the building, 1979, froze, split, and let go. 2 inches of water across the floor. 11 machines flooded from below. A quarter of the ceiling is lying on the folding tables it used to hang over. You stand in the doorway with the water finding its way to the drains around your boots. And you do the math you already know. The note to Walter is due in 19 days. Lou's is due Friday. And the store, the only thing that pays either of them, is destroyed. Now the part they don't teach you, whose insurance is this? The pipe is the building's. That's Walter's policy. The machines are yours. That's your policy, the cheapest one you could find. With a $10,000 deductible, you chose to save $80 a month. The 2 insurance companies do what insurance companies do. They point at each other. For 3 weeks, adjusters play while your store sits dark on the busiest laundry corridor in Southwest Denver. And your customers, your regulars, your 9 commercial accounts need clean clothes today. Walter's note doesn't pause. And this is where he could bury you. Miss the payment and the store defaults back to him. 20 grand and 8 months of your life gone. Instead, the old man drives down, looks at the ceiling, and says, "Pay me when it's open." You will never forget that. Lou's, you pay from your own checking account, both closed weeks, without being asked. Not because you're noble, because 11 years of customer relationships walk out the door with her, and because it's simply what you owe someone who trusted you. That distinction will matter your whole career. Reopening costs $9,200 out of pocket before $1 of insurance lands. Manny's crew, drywall, 4 of the 11 flooded machines saved. Your account gets down to $600. $600. This is the week you find out what no plan B actually feels like. And then, the thing that saves you, Lou's paper list. The night before you reopen, she texts every wash and fold customer and all 9 commercial accounts, personally. Reopening day does the best numbers in the store's 42-year history. The insurance check comes in March. The customers came back in February. Somewhere in that spring, counting quarters at the folding table Dot used to own, it lands on you. The same thing it lands on everyone who does this once. You didn't fix a laundromat. You learned a sequence. Water bills, turns, seller per day. Light, hours, wash and fold, commercial routes. And Colorado is covered in Kesslers. Laundromats run by tired owners on 1983 math, in neighborhoods full of renters, one crooked handwritten sign away from selling. The store on Federal isn't the prize, it's the proof. You don't have a business. You have the first turn of a flywheel, and $3,900 a month of fuel to feed it. Store 2 finds you. Manny Ortega calls, a widow named Pauline Vasquez, on East Colfax in Aurora. Machines 20 years old. Husband gone since summer. She doesn't want a broker crawling through Rubin's books. She wants someone who'll keep it a laundromat. Manny says, I know a guy. The quarter guy. Same homework. 12 months of Aurora water bills at the kitchen table. The store grosses $5,100 honest dollars a month. Pauline's numbers are exactly right, which tells you everything about Pauline. And it has the same disease. Dead machines, short hours, no wash and fold. The price is $62,000. But this time you learn a new instrument. You put 15 down, Pauline carries 32, and the last 15 is an equipment loan. The machines themselves are the collateral, the way a car secures a car loan. 3 ways to slice one deal. Nobody teaches you this. Doing it teaches you. You run the sequence on Colfax like sheet music. Hours, lights, refurb machines from Manny. Lou's, now full-time, now your first real manager, trains a wash and fold counter and starts a new paper list. 11 months later, Store 2 clears $2,900 a month, and you finally quit the dealership. Then the reputation starts compounding, quietly, the way it does. Manny tells every seller he meets. Pauline tells her church. Dana at the bank. who has now watched 2 years of your deposits grow, week by week, bucket by bucket, introduces you to the branch's small business lender. And that's the room where the SBA finally says yes. 2 years earlier, you were a service advisor with a hail-dented Civic. Now, you're a 2-location operator with clean tax returns and a story the water bills can verify. An SBA loan doesn't bet on dreams. It bets on provable cash flow. You are now provable. Store 3 is in Colorado Springs, off Academy Boulevard. A bank-owned repo, ugly and cheap, bought with the SBA's money and rebuilt with Manny's crew. Store 4, Pueblo. Seller financed from a retiring couple who heard about you from, of course, Pauline. By year 4, you're not finding deals. You're sorting them. The playbook doesn't care what zip code it runs in. Renters need clean clothes in Aurora, in the Springs, in Pueblo, in every town on I-25. Boring fixes travel. Stores 5 and 6 come the same way. One in Lakewood, one back in Southwest Denver, 2 miles from where it all started. Luz oversees all the wash and fold counters now, with a company phone and a real payroll. And she still keeps the lists on paper. You've stopped arguing. Then, in the 5th spring, Walter calls. He's 80. He's moving to Mesa, Arizona, to be near his daughter. And he's selling the building on South Federal. And because of one clause you asked for 5 years ago, the right of first refusal, he is legally required to offer it to you first. He would have anyway. But that's the lesson. You don't get lucky. You write the clause years before you need it, and then luck has somewhere to land. You buy the building with an SBA 504 loan, the one built for owner-occupied real estate, 10% down, and the arithmetic quietly flips. The $2,800 a month you've paid in rent for 5 years now pays down a building you own. The store's biggest expense just became its biggest asset. At the closing table off Santa Fe Drive, Walter slides the brass keys across, the same ring from June 1st, and says, "Dot would have liked you." You drive back to Federal in the same Civic, 212,000 miles on it now, because it still runs, and because you know exactly what a dollar is for. So here's the whole thing, laid flat. A handwritten sign, a drawer of water bills, $20,000 of savings, and a sequence of fixes so boring nobody else would bend down to pick them up. 6 stores, 1 building, 5 years. Nobody on Federal Boulevard slowed down for that sign. 4,000 cars a day, every one of them driving past a business you could read like a meter, priced by a man who just wanted someone to ask. The opportunity wasn't hidden. It was unfashionable. That's different. You didn't buy a laundromat. You bought the question. What would this do if a single person cared? And you spent 5 years answering it, 1 quarter at a time. This was the Laundromat on Federal. How one dying wash on South Federal Boulevard became 6 stores across the Front Range, 1 boring fix at a time. Real due diligence, real deal structures, real stakes. Subscribe to Ground Floor for more cinematic finance stories about ordinary people building real money, 1 deal at a time. And tell me below, Walter's store, 20 grand down, everything you've saved. Are you in or are you out?